What if I told you there was something that existed which could transform your life? Something which, if truly understood and embraced, could pull you out of any dire situation or circumstance, transforming your entire existence from lack and emptiness to abundance and fulfillment. What if I told you this something is visible, yet at the same time invisible? What if I kept on asking rhetorical questions like this, delaying the point of my message over and over again until it became unbearable? What if I didn't even tell you that this thing I'm talking about until the very end of this episode? I'd be a fucking asshole, that's what. This episode will be part 1 of a series of 2 titled Preliminaries. I call these preliminaries because if you don't have these 2 things embedded inside your being, then anything I mention will be pretty much useless. You'll be like a person on a small boat, lost out in the ocean with no oars, engine or map, just bobbing up and down in the sea, being pushed around by external currents and tides, which will take you wherever they want you to go. If you're lucky, you'll end up on an island somewhere, but once arriving, you'll ask yourself, what the fuck happened? How did I get here? These 2 things that I'll talk about in these episodes will be like your armor, which will protect and serve you throughout your journey in life. Sure, one can live without them, but you'll be unnecessarily exposed to more danger and obstacles that will inevitably come your way. So the first thing I'm talking about is self-esteem or self-worth. Disclaimer alert. I am no academic or medical expert. I'm just a simple guy who likes to keep things simple and practical. I've read a few books on this subject and know there are people out there who know this shit back to front, and some have spent their entire careers just studying this one thing alone. Self-worth is different to self-esteem. What about self-esteem? You're mixing this up. I'm just here to share with you what I've learnt, and I'll do my best to explain it in simple terms. Self-esteem and self-worth are so fucking important that I won't be able to do it justice in one episode. At best, I can just try to stress how important it is, and then maybe inspire you to do your own investigating. Let me explain. Let this dot represent this video you are watching right now. Now this video is just one within a cluster of literally billions of videos on an iceberg called YouTube. And now of course there are other giant social media icebergs out there too, like TikTok, Instagram, Snapchat. Now combine all these icebergs together and imagine all these videos were all on self-esteem and self-worth. And this would only represent a fraction of how important self-esteem and self-worth are. Once you can appreciate the sheer scale of how important this is, let me do my best to give you my explanation of what it is. My interpretation and understanding of it is as follows. First, it's both an understanding and appreciation that the chances of you being born is 1 in 400 trillion. Now let's look at that for a moment. This is 1,000. Now that number's pretty big in itself. Imagine holding $1,000 right now. Pretty decent, right? Now this is 1 million. This is 1 billion. And this is 1 trillion. Add 400 and there you have it. 400 trillion. That's the odds of you being alive right now on this planet, twirling in space. In terms of statistics, check this out. Chances of dying in a car crash, 1 in 100. Chances of dying in a plane crash, 1 in 200,000. Odds of winning the Powerball lottery, 1 in 300 million. So once you comprehend and understand that the odds of you being born are 1 in 400 trillion, you start to appreciate how fucking valuable, rare, and special you and your existence here on Earth is. It's also from understanding this that life is so fucking special and rare that you gain an understanding that you have no right to fuck with another's well-being or right to live their life, just as no one else has the right to fuck with your well-being or your uniqueness. Now let's quickly look at what some of the behaviors of someone with low self-esteem has. Here are a few. Someone battles from an addiction of some sort. They constantly put people or institutions on massive pedestals, thinking that they are way above them. They may be stuck in the same job which they hate for years on end and do nothing about changing their circumstances, fearing they will never get another job. They constantly put themselves down or others around them in a variety of situations with phrases like, "You're so stupid, you shouldn't have done that." Now let me ask you a question. What is the common theme in all of these examples? To answer the question, the common theme in all of these examples is that people with low self-esteem don't recognize and acknowledge their own value and uniqueness. 1 in 400 trillion. Now let's put all this together in real-life practical examples to help further illustrate all of this. Let's take two people, person A and person B. Person A has high self-esteem and person B has low self-esteem. Now let's expose both of these two people to the exact same situations and let's see how they both react. Situation 1. There's a work meeting and your smug boss tells you that he wants to have a meeting next week to discuss a few matters. Person A, the one who has high self-esteem, will have an internal monologue like this. "No problem. I wonder what this is all about. I know I do my job well and I meet my expected targets. Maybe he just wants to commend me for my work. If on the small chance it's about a mistake I made, then so be it. I will learn it and move on from it. If he carries on like it's the end of the world and threatens me, then he can literally go fuck himself. I know I'm good at my job and I can find work where my skills are appreciated if it comes down to it." Now let's look at the monologue of person B, the one with low self-esteem, after hearing the exact same thing. "Oh fuck, what's this about? What did I do wrong? Are management planning to fire me? What's going on? I'll be lost without this job. I don't even know if I can find employment anywhere else." Scenario number 2. You're out with friends and a mutual acquaintance introduces you to a smoking hot girl who is also single. Person A, the one with high self-esteem, goes, Damn, she's beautiful. Let me ask her out and see where it goes. If she says yes, cool. But if not, it doesn't matter. At least I gave it a shot. There are plenty more fish out there. Person B, the one with low self-esteem, says, I can't possibly ask a girl of this caliber out. She's way out of my league. And what if I do ask her out and she rejects me and tells everyone I know about what a loser I am? It's best I keep my distance and not talk to her. Looking at these examples, you can see how two people exposed to the exact same life situations, but with different levels of self-esteem, can greatly affect not only their human experience, but also their inevitable trajectory in life. Delving a little deeper, you can see that not only does the person with high self-esteem have a healthy sense of how valuable their life is, but the way they perceive and react to the world around them is different too. Let's start with perception. The person with high self-esteem views the world with a completely different lens to that with someone with low self-esteem. A person with high self-esteem generally sees the world positively with opportunities, whereas the person with low self-esteem generally sees the world as threatening or unjust. Their inner monologues are generally supportive and self-caring, whereas the inner monologue of someone with low self-esteem is generally filled with intense self-hate and criticism. Using the examples, the person with high self-esteem interpreted the meeting with the boss and meeting the girl as a positive experience with potential opportunity, whereas the person with low self-esteem saw both situations as intimidating and threatening. Now that we have touched on how they interpret events differently, let's look at how they react to events differently. A person with high self-esteem is less prone to be affected by various events and hardships. They have the ability to brush off the shit that happens to them and bounce back on their feet and move forward to the next thing. If his boss spoke to him about a mistake he made, he wouldn't associate this with his own value as a human. He would make a mental note of what happened and work on not making the same error again and move on. It wouldn't affect his own perceived value as a human. Compare this to someone with low self-esteem. Events or tests in life greatly affect their well-being, and in many cases, the events act like a feedback loop which only reinforces their inaccurate negative self-belief about themselves, basically at how worthless they are. For example, the boss telling him that he made an error reinforces how much of a worthless employee he is. He would stew over it with self-hate, and it would only further reduce his self-worth. You see, high self-esteem is like armor to your inner being. Life will throw some serious shit at you. That is guaranteed. People close to you may betray you. A loved one may die, or you may get involved in a horrific car accident. Whatever comes your way, high self-esteem will help shield your inner being from these occurrences and help you bounce back and push onwards. One last important thing I want to mention is that a person with high self-esteem follows their own tune, their own music within, without it being influenced by external influence or circumstances. You see, without it, that inner calling, one's inner voice or inner dreams, goals and ambitions in life will gradually get destroyed by external influences or circumstances outside oneself. Let's go back to 1976, when Steve Jobs conceived the idea of Apple with Steve Wozniak. So his goal or dream was to form a company and revolutionize personal computing. Let's imagine if Steve had low self-esteem, but shared this idea to his peers. I would guarantee you that there would have been some, if not most of his friends, who would laugh at him, literally. Computer business, stick to your day job, mate. Where are you going to get the money to start something like that? Low self-esteem Steve would put these friends of his on pedestals and value their judgment more than his inner calling. He would agree with them, yell at himself for being so foolish for even thinking about such a thing, and possibly continue to work for Atari. Maybe he would gradually climb the ranks, ending up in a middle management position. But his dream would always be there, suppressed, and he would forever be thinking, what if I had the balls to start that company, Apple? I wonder what would have happened.
We are delivering today the iPad, the new iMac, the iPod, iPhoto, MacBook Air, iTunes. It's a revolutionary.
There was so much to cover in this episode. Thank you for making it this far. I hope I have explained shit simply and clearly. Here's a recap or summary. Number 1. Self-esteem is really important. Number 2. 1 in 400 trillion. You are fucking valuable. Number 3. It's your armor which keeps your dreams and goals alive. Thanks for watching and stay tuned for next episode.
Too low terrain. 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 Too low terrain.